Hello, BookTube. Just one video today, and I want to start off with a reminder, something that a lot of you have been emailing me about. CPL Radio's Books of the Week, the only other YouTube place where I talk about books. Our new episode is up. We film it for the end of the weekend. Like to get it up on Fridays, but it was delayed until Saturday evening, so it's up now, and I'll leave a link on this video. And other than that, I thought for today's video we would just open some mail. That's almost always fun to do. So we'll see what we have here, whether or not there's anything that'll maybe interest you more than it interests me. Let's see what the first one is. Okay, so the first one is a contemporary romance. That's always nice to get. This is Let the Games Begin by Rufaro Faith Mazarura. The Acropolis in the background there. I don't usually like these cartoon covers. That one's got some spirit to it. Let's see here. So the setting is Athens 2024. Olivia Nkomo has always been ambitious, smart, and an overall go-getter. Now that she's graduated from university, she's willing to do whatever it takes to land her dream job at the Summer Games. The first step? Securing her new internship, which will put her in the center of all the action, where she hopes to run into some of her favorite athletes. Ezekiel Zeke Moyo, the heartthrob star runner of Team Great Britain, is more than ready to claim his title as the fastest man in the world, following in the footsteps of the greatest athletes of all time. His path to the finish line is looking bright, despite his recent breakup with celebrated gymnast Valentina Ross Rodriguez, constantly making the headlines. When Olivia and Zeke collide, literally, there will be a meet cute. Usually in these contemporary romances, the protagonists literally do run into each other physically. On the first day of training, sparks fly. As the game grows closer, so do Olivia and Zeke. But the competition starts stirring up uncomfortable memories from Zeke's past, and Olivia's internship doesn't turn out to be what she expected. Will they be able to overcome these hurdles and achieve their dreams? I think we all know the answer to that. So what about Rufaro Faith Mazarura, a British Zimbabwean writer who grew up in Birmingham and studied English and creative writing at the University of Surrey. And this is her debut. How wonderful. How wonderful. Okay, great. All right, so this is from Flatiron Books. I don't have a date on it. This is going to be a $20 paperback. I'm assuming it's out already. But that's wonderful. So let's move on to this next one here. And see, we started off with contemporary romance, and we also started off with something that is probably out already. It's certainly an immediate read. I'll read it tonight. Okay. Then we have something that I believe is out already. Oh, no, this doesn't come out until the end of the month. This doesn't come out until July 30th. Look at all this paperwork. Good Lord. Am I reading a book, or am I filing a mortgage? Here, let's get rid of all of that. We've already seen this, but this is a finished copy of Alison Montclair's Murder at the White Palace. And this is a new Sparks and Bainbridge novel. This series is really good. Those of you who are looking for a new murder mystery series, especially a historical one, this is a really good series, really enjoyable. So this is about the matchmakers of the Right Sort Marriage Bureau. The two women who run it are very different, but they have forged an unusual friendship. In the immediate post-war days of London, two unlikely partners have undertaken an even more unlikely, if necessary, business venture, the Right Sort Marriage Bureau. The two partners are Miss Iris Sparks, a woman with a dangerous and never-discussed past in British intelligence, and Mrs. Gwendolyn Bainbridge, a genteel war widow with a young son entangled in a complicated aristocratic family. Looking to throw a New Year's Eve soiree for their clients, Sparks and Bainbridge scout an empty building only to find a body contained in the walls. What they initially assume is a victim of a recent blitz is uncovered instead to be a murder victim stabbed several times. And I have read this, and it's very good. It's very entertaining. This series really doesn't let you down. The mention there in the plot summary of the son who is increasingly entangled in a strange and charismatic aristocratic family, that son and that family comes close to stealing this book. When you read it, you will want to know more about them, maybe pressingly, and you only learn so much. So that's two works of fiction that we've got so far. Let's move on. Let's see if these packages can give us any nonfiction. Let's see here. This next one is a finished copy of something. Again, with a mountain of paperwork. Lord, I do not need paperwork. Okay, let's just get rid of all that. What do we got here? Oh, okay. All right, great. All right, well, we got nonfiction of just the kind that I like. This, I think I mentioned it to you already. This is the finished copy of Lawrence Wells' book, Ghostwriter, Shakespeare, Literary Landmines, and Eccentric Patron's Royal Obsession. So it's a tiny little thing. And I believe this is out already, or if not, it comes out sometime in July, sometime in the next 2 weeks. Let's see here. Part literary mystery, part an examination of what constitutes fiction versus reality. Ghostwriter is based on the true story of Lawrence Wells, then 45, hired by the University of Mississippi in 1987 to ghostwrite a novel for a wealthy, eccentric donor, Mrs. F., then 75. Well, we've all been there. Who was convinced that Edward de Vere, the 17th Earl of Oxford, was William Shakespeare, and that she was the reincarnation of Queen Elizabeth I. This roller coaster literary collaboration dramatized Elizabeth Rex and Edward de Vere's romance, which, according to legend, produced a son, Henry Reesley, Call Me Reesley from Hilary Mantel's Cromwell novels, born in secret. Henry grew up to become the third Earl of Southampton, who is universally acknowledged as the fair youth of Shakespeare's sonnets, and whose real-life descendants included Princess Diana and her sons, Prince Harry and William, the Prince of Wales. Wells and his late wife, Dean Faulkner Wells, niece of William Faulkner, traveled to England to research the life of Edward de Vere and interview proponents of the Shakespeare authorship debate. Because you know if it's Edward de Vere, you know that's going to be the source of the book. That summer, London tabloids reported a royal breakup of Prince Charles and Princess Diana, which incidentally echoed Wells and Mrs. F's tempestuous love story about Edward de Vere and Elizabeth I. Okay, this sounds more like a novel than it does a work of nonfiction. Flashbacks weave several elements together: the 17th century mystery of Queen Elizabeth's fair youth and his lifelong search for his mother's identity, Wells' evolving relationship with the inimitable Mrs. F., and the bawdy Elizabethan narrative he is composing. The stories merge, leading to a surprising conclusion. Okay. I could swear that I know this author. Lawrence Wells' Ghostwriter manuscript was awarded a 2014 Faulkner Wisdom Prize for narrative nonfiction in the Words and Music Festival in New Orleans. His memoir, In Faulkner's Shadow, about his 38-year marriage to Dean Faulkner Wells, niece of William Faulkner, was published by the University Press of Mississippi in 2020. And he's the author of 2 historical novels, Rommel and the Rebel and Let the Band Play Dixie. And a 3rd novel, Fair Youth, which he ghostwrote for Gertrude C. Ford, is to be published in 2024. So the book here that he did for an eccentric patron is going to see the light of day. It's not just a narrative device. And this is the story of all kinds of connected nonfiction adventures that went along with that behind the scenes. Very interesting. I wonder if you'd get best results by reading those 2 books side by side. But anyway, let's move on to the last package here. It's a box, but it's a thin box, so it's not the kind of box that's going to hold the treasures that I want. There are 2 treasures that I want, and they are too big to be in this thing. So what have we got here? This is from Princeton University Press. Oh, oh my, okay. Great, all right, this comes out in October. This is by Paula Fredrickson, and it is called Ancient Christianities, the First 500 Years. Very interesting. All right, so I don't have a sheet for this. I don't think I do. No? No, I don't have a sheet for this, so we'll just read the description here. The ancient Mediterranean teemed with gods. For centuries, a practical religious pluralism prevailed. How then did one particular god come to dominate the politics and piety of the late Roman Empire? Okay. All right. In Ancient Christianities, Paula Fredrickson traces the evolution of early Christianity, or rather of early Christianities, plural, through 5 centuries of empire, mapping its pathways from the hills of Judea to the halls of Rome and Constantinople. It is a story with a sprawling cast of characters, not only theologians, bishops, and emperors, but also gods and demons, angels and magicians, astrologers and ascetics, saints and heretics, aristocratic patrons, and millenarian enthusiasts. All played their part in the development of what became and always remained an evangelically diverse biblical religion. The New Testament, as we know it, represents only a small selection of the many Gospels, letters, Acts of the Apostles, and Revelations that circulated before the establishment of the imperial church. What a phrase. It tells how the Gospel passed from Jesus to the Apostles, thence to Paul. But by using our peripheral vision, oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. By looking to non-canonical and paracanonical texts, by availing ourselves of information derived from papyri, inscriptions, and archaeology, we can see a different, richer, much less linear story emerging. The author brings together these many sources to reconstruct the lively interactions of pagans, Jews, and Christians, tracing the conversions of Christianity from an energetic form of Jewish messianism to an arm of the late Roman state. All right, I'm on board. Paula Fredrickson is the Aurelio Professor of Scripture Emerita at Boston University and Emerita Professor of Comparative Religion at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. And what are her books? She wrote When Christians Were Jews and From Jesus to Christ, among others. Okay, all right, fantastic. Christian history coming out in October. So we had an even split here. 2 fiction and 2 nonfiction. We have Ancient Christianities and Ghostwriter by Lawrence Wells. Sounds to me from, I'll read Ghostwriter tonight, but it sounds from the description like this is all over the map. And it would take a singular amount of writing talent to bring that together. But Lawrence Wells might have that talent. Then The Murder at the White Palace is the finished copy, a series that you really ought to try if you haven't already. And Let the Games Begin, which is Rufaro Faith Mazarura's debut novel, her debut romance, set in the 2024 Olympics, which are insane. The 2024 Olympics are insane. The daytime standing temperature is going to be 110 degrees Fahrenheit, which means almost every event in the Summer Olympics this year will be inherently dangerous, inherently life-threatening. How you can have an event like that, I don't know. I don't know how you can legally do that. I mean, if the Olympic Committee decided they were going to hold the Summer Olympics, but they were going to sprinkle live unexploded ammunition canisters along all of the racetracks and pathways, the first time one of those things went off, the Olympics Committee would be sued into oblivion. The Olympics officials, committee officials, would be arrested. They'd be put in jail. Well, this is no different. You're telling people to run at the height of exertion, at the height of the day, when it's 110 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't imagine that there'll be much in the way of politics or climate change in this romance, so probably it will be really, really, really enjoyable. And it's a debut, which I love anyway. So anyway, that is the mail for today. This is the only video. No Pride and Prejudice, no Rocket Summer, no live stream, no nothing, just this, but I'm hoping to be back tomorrow. So I'll close this for now, and I'll see you then. Thank you, BookTube.